Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolden. Thank you all for joining me. So, I want to talk about something here that I really, honestly, to be quite honest with you, I did not get word on it until recently. I kind of heard it in passing, but I didn't really get all the information about it. It's in reference to a young boy, black teenager that was shot in Kansas. I think Kansas City, that was shot by an 84-year-old white male. Uh, and there's a lot of controversy about it. Of course, you know how this is going to end up. You know how this is going to end up. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to read you this article from the Associated Press. Yes, I'm coming from another news source now. I'm coming from Associated Press. I don't know if Associated Press is conservative or liberal. It sounds more liberal. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to dissect the information and I'm going to give you my commentary on this because what I see here, whether or not this shooting was justified or not, or whether or not it was one in self-defense or one based on race or not, I see where this is going. I see already where this is going. And you're going to find out what I'm talking about when I read you this article, the wordings of the people. So let's get right into this. And the article starts off in Kansas City, Missouri. Black teen Ralph Yar was shot twice. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I want to say before I even go any further here that my prayers and condolences are to the young man and to his young teenager and to his family. Uh, Apparently, according to the article, he did survive. So thankfully, he didn't die. But let's go on. So he was shot twice in the head and arm after going to the wrong home in Kansas City, Missouri, to pick up his younger brothers. Okay, now let me point something out here. In this Associated Press article, there is an undated photo of the young boy. It's an undated photo of him. Okay, and they show him in a band. Clearly, he's in some kind of band with a saxophone. He's not playing it, but he's looking into the camera with a saxophone, has this innocent look on his face. Now, you may be asking where I'm going with this. This is the same kind of attitude that the mainstream media had, or approach rather, the mainstream media had of, I believe, Trayvon Martin, or the young boy that was, I think it was Trayvon Martin, it's been so long ago, the young boy that was shot in their neighborhood by Zimmerman. Correct me in the comment box if I'm wrong on this. But I remember that the young boy was in the neighborhood and it was said that he had on a hoodie. And he was about 17, 18 years old and he had on a hoodie. But the photo that they showed on the news, okay, was a photo of him at 12 years old. Or at least 12 or 13 years old. He was real young, he had this real innocent look on his face. And you've been wondering, what am I trying to get at this? I think some of you already know. I believe the media was and then is playing on the sympathies of the people. They never showed the young boy, Trayvon Martin, or whatever that boy is, I forget his name, they never showed him in a hoodie being shot. Not saying that it was right for him to be shot, but I'm saying they never showed that. They showed you a picture of him as a young, innocent boy looking cute with big cheeks and all this. They were playing, the mainstream media is playing on the sympathies of the people. They keep the division going regardless. It's going to always be I can detect the mainstream media's tactics a mile away. The same principle, I believe, is being done here. In this article, you have a picture of a little boy. He has a mask on, which clearly must have been during the time of that, or the band that he may be presently in um, requires that he wear the mask. But this looks like a school band. But he's wearing a mask, looking into the camera, and he's playing a saxophone. He has a saxophone in front of him. But the article underneath it says this undated photo provided by Ben Crump Law shows Ralph Yar, the teenager shot by a homeowner in Kansas City, Missouri. So this photo is undated. So we don't know when this was taken. It could be that the lawyers for this young boy is playing on the sympathies of the people. And clearly, The Associated Press is doing the same thing because they got it in here. But we'll see. Andrew Lester, now let's listen to this. Now let's hear this. Andrew Lester, an 84-year-old white man, told police that it made it clear that he was white. Made it clear that he's white, made it clear that the boy was black. You got to remember that. The boy was black, person that shot him was white. Very important. Andrew Lester, an 84-year-old white man, told police he fired at honor student Yarl 16 out of fear last week. But whether Lester will ultimately claim self-defense in court has yet to be seen. The case raises anew questions about race relations in the United States. So here we go. So clearly this seems to be something from a more liberal news source, because it's always about race. Whenever a white or black person is involved in it, it's always about race. You see who keeps this racial issues going? That's why Morgan Freeman made this statement in an interview years ago. Now he's catching slack. But he made a statement years ago in an interview, I forget the name of that individual that was interviewing him, about race relations. Man, asked him, what do we do about race relations in the United States? He said, stop talking. Morgan Freeman's response was, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. In other words, it's going to always be before us because everybody's always talking about it. When 9 times out of 10, a significant number of things that happen in this country has nothing to do with race. But if people keep talking about it, it's going to stay before us. Everything is racial, no matter what the case may be. If it's involving a white person and a black person, it's always racial. Who's creating that narrative? Is it the people or the media? I say to you and anybody else, it's the media. The mainstream liberal media. They need that. They need it to be racial. That's where they get their power from. That's where they get their donations and money from. People that want to do a just cause for them and give them money to help their cause. Let's go on. Here's a look at what happened, where the criminal case stands, how the teen is faring, and the role gun laws in Missouri could play in the case. Yarl mixed up an address. Now, supposedly this is what the situation was with the young boy. Instead of going to 115th Terrace to pick up his twin brothers Thursday night, Yarl showed up at Lester's home on 115th Street at 10 p.m. Showed up at 115th Street at 10 p.m. So notice the time. It's 10 p.m., so it's late at night. This is an 84-year-old man, and it's late at night, 10 o'clock at night. The article goes on to say this. Lester told police he had just gotten in bed when he heard the doorbell. Before answering, he grabbed his revolver. Lester said he then saw Yarl pulling on the storm door handle, something Yarl disputes according to the probable cause statement. Now, whether it was, we don't know whether or not this is true or not. This is what this guy Lester, the 84-year-old white male, said. Okay, they haven't been tried yet. Could this be a racial situation? It could be. I don't know. But what I'm trying to argue with, my argument is, it's always a racial incident when the leftist mainstream media presents it before the people. When it's white and black, it's always racial. Always. But let's listen to this. Lester told police he had just gotten in bed when he heard the doorbell. Before answering, he grabbed his revolver. Lester said he then saw Yarl putting on a storm door handle. Okay, now remember this. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's 84 years old. I'm not justifying what he did, but I'm just trying to show a point. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's getting into bed, and he's 84 years old. Someone starts pulling on the door. What do you think a person that age at that time of night is going to think? What do you think? They're going to be terrified. You want to know why I say that? Because I was in my 40s, and when I was living in my former address, someone came upstairs and started pulling on my door handle. I don't know how they got through the door at the bottom. It's a set of stairs used to go up to my apartment. I don't know how they got in there, but they pulling on my door handle. Forget about pulling on my door handle. Well, first they knocked, heard somebody knock, and then it was like, "Is this apartment so?" And I said, "Man, get out of here!" And all of a sudden they start pulling on the handle. I said, "Get out of here!" And then he ran downstairs. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry." That doesn't mean that it wasn't that the person didn't have the wrong address. He probably did. But I was terrified, and I didn't have a gun to defend myself. The place I used to live at, not West 14th. I'm in my new apartment now, as you can see. I'm still redecorating, but prior to that, when I lived on the street called 128th and Union, right above my church, People were breaking that place all the time. And I'd hear them coming up the stairs or trying to get through the door on the other side. And I didn't have a gun to defend myself. This 84-year-old man, 10 o'clock at night, had a gun to defend himself if, in fact, this was self-defense. So don't fly off the handle, oh my God, you just know. I'm just trying to present the case as I see it, based on the information that I have here. 10 o'clock at night, 84-year-old man, terrified. And these kids do this. A lot of these young teens have been doing this, assaulting innocent white people. Yes, they have been doing it. So what is he supposed to think? Let's go on. Come on, man. Let's quit playing games now. Come on. Lesser told police he thought the teen was attempting to break into the home and he was, quote, scared to death, the statement said. Without saying a word, Lesser fired twice. Yarl said the first shot struck him in the head, knocking him to the ground. As he lay there, the second bullet pierced his arm. Yarl told police he fled as a homeowner yelled, quote, don't come around here, the statement said. Yarl said he went to, quote, multiple homes asking for help. A neighbor ultimately used towels to stem the bleeding until paramedics arrived. Now, I want you to hear this part. Now, of course, MSNBC, they're good at keeping the racial narrative going. But listen to this. Some civil rights leaders have called for a hate crime charge. But Zachary Thompson, Clay County prosecuting attorney, said first-degree assault is a higher level crime with a longer sentence up to life in prison. Now, it says some civil rights leaders have called for a hate crime charge. I'm reading what the article is saying. So clearly some stuff had been omitted out. There he'd been charged with these civil rights leaders are charging this with a hate crime charge. Why would you be charging with a hate crime and you don't have all the information? Why are you doing that? Can you prove, civil rights leader, that this is a hate crime? You see what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff that keeps the division going. It doesn't bring unity. It keeps the division going. Civil rights leaders supposedly fighting for black people's rights, okay, are calling for a first-degree murder. They're calling for the most severest kind of a crime that he committed without having all the evidence. This is what they do. This is what these so-called civil rights leaders do. They have to remain relevant. Let's go on. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. A hate crime charge. You can't prove that that's a hate crime. So the article goes on to say, Lesser also was charged with armed criminal action, which has a penalty range of 3 to 15 years. Lesser was to be arraigned Wednesday afternoon. An attorney was not yet listed for him. So here's something. Here is an article. It says, Yarl's classmates rallied for him Tuesday, holding signs that read, "We walk for Ralph. Stop the hate and justice for Ralph." How do you know it's hate? This is what I'm talking about. When we lack all the details of the case, then automatically, because the mainstream media keeps it stirred up, we assume something is based on hate. As I said earlier, it doesn't mean that the 84-year-old white man wasn't racist. He could have been racist. We don't know. But we don't know. That's the case. But the way this article is presenting the information as if it is racial. You got people out talking about some stop the hate. The kids protesting stop the hate. Can you prove it was hate? Forgive them sirens out there. And here's something else here. It says, let me read you something else here. Let me read you this. This right here is interesting too. It says, it has a heading, what are the racial elements of the case? The shooting outraged many in Kansas City and across the country. Really? Did it? Now here's the part that got me. Civic and political leaders, including President Joe Biden, demanded justice. Biden also invited Yarl to the White House. Do you really believe that Biden, you about the most fake piece of trash I ever seen in my life? Yeah, you invited him also because you playing on the sympathy of black people. Who's going to give in to it anyway? They're going to keep him in office. They're going to keep him in office. He's going to run. He's thinking about running again, too, by the way, incidentally. I was reading that President Joe Biden is contemplating running again. Forget about the fact that will be the oldest president in history. Forget about all that. The fact that his policies are destroying the country, people are not, they can't seem to see that. Then it says Thompson said Monday that there was a racial component to the shooting without elaborating. Yeah, of course you're not going to elaborate. You're not going to expound on that because you can't prove there was a racial element. We're going to stop right there. But my point is this. This is a tragic situation that has taken place. And I'm grateful that the boy did not die. I'm grateful to that. Because if he had died, it probably would have been Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Panfifa and whoever else would have been out storming and beating up innocent people and causing all kinds of chaos like they did in 2020. But my argument is, and always will be, you can't just jump and say it's race related because there's a white and a black person involved. We don't know that. Wait till the case is over first before you start saying, hey, we want to press hate crime. We want to press a hate crime against this person. You can't prove that. You can't prove it's a hate crime. This is what I'm talking about. These Marxist journalists and reporters are doing nothing but playing the game that they've been told to play to keep us all divided. I'm wondering, when are we going to wake up, man? When are we going to wake up and say, wait a minute, let me stand back a little bit and take a breather and look at the bigger picture. Let me look at all the facts. I don't know, for whatever reason, when I mention facts and data and documentation, people just get mad at me, call me all kinds of names or whatever. But I'm sorry, man. I got to tell it. Look, that's what I stand on. You can hate me all day. But when it's all over, when the nudie swoop hits the fan, I'm going to be with the Lord, and I'm going to be standing down there looking and saying, look, I told you so. I told you so. And thousands of other YouTubers, African-American, black, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call them, told you as well, but you didn't listen. You stayed in the matrix. You stayed plugged up. So that's what I wanted to say on this. This is just getting out of hand here with this racial thing. You can't assume it's race-related until you've gotten all the facts. That's my argument on it. Let's get the facts first. Then we can make that assessment. But until then, it's open. It's open. So that's my commentary on it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.